Hey guys, this is Vanessa from the Pudgy Rabbit, and today I'm going to show you how to do a Russian join. This is a really great technique for connecting your yarn ends together, and you won't have to weave any ends in, and it creates a really seamless join. All you'll need is a yarn needle, so let's get started. I'm going to start by taking the tail end of my working yarn and threading it through my yarn needle, and I'm going to pull it through until I have a few inches of a tail. Then I'm going to take my needle and carefully work it into the center of my working yarn. I'm going to slowly push my needle into the strands of yarn so that they start twisting around my needle, like this. I'm going to continue pushing my needle into the center of my working yarn until I have a few inches of yarn on my needle. So now I have a few inches of yarn around my needle, and you can see I have a little loop at the head of the needle plus the tail end. Now I'm going to carefully pull my needle through the yarn that's wound around it until the tail end comes through on the other side. So I'm going to work all the yarn that's wound around the needle towards the head, and you want to make sure that this loop that's at the end keeps intact. And then slowly pull the needle through. Now you can see there's the yarn that's wound around. And I'm going to hold on to the loop that's at the end and then pull on my needle until the tail end comes all the way through. And so there's our first part of the Russian join. You'll have all this yarn that's worked through the center of the working yarn plus a little loop. I'm going to put that aside. Now I'm going to take my new color and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take the tail end of my new color and thread it through the needle, leaving a tail of a few inches. Then I'm going to thread it through the loop from our working yarn. And now I'm going to repeat threading the needle through the center of the new color. So I'm going to slowly work my needle into the yarn strands so that they're twisting around my needle. I'm going to do this until I have a few inches of yarn threaded onto my needle. Once you have a few inches of yarn around your needle, we're going to again pull the needle all the way through that yarn that's wrapped around it until the tail end of the yarn comes through on the other side. And we want to make sure that we keep this loop that's at the head of the needle intact. Once I've pulled the yarn almost all the way through, I like to hold on to the yarn that was wrapped around the needle, and then this makes it easier to pull the tail all the way through. Okay, now your yarn should look something like this. It looks a little bit messy, but we're going to smooth it out. So you're going to hold on to the yarn that was wrapped around your needle and then pull on the tail so you can tighten up that loop that's at the end. And then you'll repeat for the other side. Once both your loops have been tightened, then you can carefully smooth out the yarn that was wrapped around your needle. Once your yarn has been all smoothed out, you'll just have this tail end left, and you'll just trim it off as close to the yarn strand as you can get it. And that's how you do a Russian join. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what other tutorials you'd like to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.